Hello everyone, this is Maya Zahira, and this video is actually specifically for those of you who are either already members of my Psychic Attack and Entity Attack support group on Facebook, or you are not yet a member, but you are interested in the topic of psychic protection, psychic self-defense, and so on. And my purpose in doing this video is to share with all of you the real core reasons why I decided to step up and make psychic self-defense, psychic protection, more of a focal point in my life's work. Now, one of my teachers, a couple of weeks ago, I was telling her about how passionate I am about this aspect of my work. And I was telling her why. I told her part of my story of some experiences that I went through a few months ago. And, I gave her a very candid and heartfelt story. And she said, Maya, you absolutely need to create a video or an audio talking about exactly that, telling your students, telling your clients, telling your community about this reason. And so here I am, making a video for you all. So my intention is that this information will come from the heart, and I'm not going off of any notes. So wherever I'm guided to go is where we will go. Okay? So first of all, I want to say that I've been doing teaching and healing work for many, many years. Actually over 20 years. So that's a really long time. And through all of those years, I've always felt that it's important to, I've always felt that psychic self-defense is really important. There's some people in the spirituality and alternative healing fields who have expressed their view with me that they feel that psychic protection, psychic self-defense is not necessary, and that me teaching it is actually very fear-based. And I would like to say that I respectfully and lovingly and strongly disagree. And here's why. So when we get into our car and we buckle the seatbelt because we're taking a reasonable and prudent safety measure, are we putting on that seatbelt because we're being all fear-based in our beliefs? No, we're doing it because we're just being prudent. And also, in a lot of states, I believe it's against the law to go without your seatbelt, but that's a whole other thing. So what about a woman who decides, or a man, who decides to go to a physical self-defense class, like at a karate studio? Is their decision to go and learn some physical empowerment tools, is that necessarily fear-based? No, I don't believe so. I mean, it might be. It depends on the person. But I think going and taking, learning some self-defense techniques is actually really smart. It's a very empowered thing to do. And so similarly, I have always believed that learning about psychic self-defense, learning about discernment for what situations, what energies are okay and not okay, I think all of that is super important, and it's part of being an empowered individual who lives in not only a physical world, but a spiritual one as well. I mean, even though we are living in the physical realm right now, we're living on the planet Earth, there is still energy all around us. There are entities, there are spirits all around us that are, I mean, our world is multi-dimensional. So we have a lot of things around us that many people can't necessarily see with their physical eyesight, but that those energies still have an effect on us. And so I've always felt that that's very important. I've always taught my students and my clients about healthy energy boundaries, about how to protect yourself. And even though I always felt that it was important, it was never a main focus, right? I never was, wanting to have that be my main focus for my classes and my clients. It was just something that was interwoven because it's like part of breathing, right? But there was a personal experience that I had, a very profound experience a couple of months ago that really shifted that for me to where I realized that I was being pushed into a higher calling. Actually, in some ways, a more difficult calling, but a very rewarding calling nonetheless. And that is to step into doing more work, more challenging work with psychic protection, psychic self-defense, including assisting people who are being harassed and attacked by entities and dark energies, and people who are experiencing psychic attack, psychic attack from other people, energetic psychic attack, and so on. So the reason why I stepped into this higher calling, as I mentioned, I had a very profound experience a few months ago. So as I'm taking this video, it's early fall 2016. And by the way, there's a lot of bugs out here today. So I really wanted to take the video outside, but I'm having to brush them off of me. It's crazy. There's these gnats all over the place. So that's why I keep doing that. But we're just going to keep right on going. This is a candid video, and that's the way I like it, actually. I like just being real on here. So you get to see me scratching the bugs off of myself. So it's fall 2016 as I'm doing this video. And in late spring 2016, I had an experience that I will never forget that really... it changed my life, really. It was a negative experience, but it really pushed me in a new direction with my work. So it was a negative experience in that it was very uncomfortable and not fun at all, and I don't wish to re-experience it ever again, but I know that it had a purpose. I know. So what happened was that in late spring of this year, I experienced a very intense and terrifying and powerful psychic attack that also included being attacked by entities, including demonic entities. And this occurred because I came into contact with a couple of people in my community who they actually have or had these entities attached to them. And that's a long story. We won't go into that. But that's how it all started, was I had contact with some people that had some stuff attached to them. These weren't clients. These were actually, I'll call them colleagues in the community. And whether they are aware that they have this stuff attached to them or not remains to be seen. And so my heart is open to them, and I send them prayers and love. But the fact is that what they believe are positive beings that they're working with are actually not positive at all. And so that's where discernment comes in. I do believe, just as a side note, I believe that there's a lot of people out there that are not using the level of discernment that really they should be having when they're working, when they're channeling beings and then working with clients. Because sometimes there are beings that come in that are not of the light, that are not of God, that attach to the practitioner, and then that being gets to source energy off of all of that practitioner's clients. And it just hurts my heart to think about that. So very, very long story short, by the way, I'm going to be, I'm in the process of writing a book about all of this, so you'll be able to read about the whole story if you're ever interested. But very long story short, I was able to see the truth of what was really happening, and that was why I came under attack. Very, very extreme attack by these entities. I will say that there are a lot of people that I recognize there are a lot of people who don't believe that sort of thing can happen, and I love you anyway. It's okay if you don't believe in it, but you believe in it if it's happened to you. If it's happened to you, then you know that it's really possible. So, suffice it to say, I went through a really extreme and really terrifying experience, and from start to finish, the whole course of it lasted about 6 weeks, and it included, started off as a generalized psychic attack, but then turned into being attacked by entities, including really dark demonic beings. And there were some periods during that when I thought that they were going to kill me. I feared for my life. And I've always considered myself pretty, I don't get scared. I've seen ghosts my whole life. I'm not a scaredy cat, okay? But this stuff scared the crap out of me. And what scared me even more, what was even more terrifying and upsetting and unsettling, was that when I reached out to people, there were very few people who understood what it was that I was talking about. They had no way of relating, which, thank God, they've never had that happen to them. That's a blessing. But when I was going through it, there were people who they had never had that experience. They had no frame of reference. And also, it's very common nowadays in spiritual groups. The spiritual belief is that if you just surround yourself in love and light, then nothing of dark can ever touch you. But I'm going to tell you that is absolutely not true. Because since I was radiating at such light, that actually made me a target to this stuff, this attack, these entities, okay? So a lot of what I was getting when I was reaching out to the community was either that doesn't happen, that's not possible, I don't believe in that, or you caused this, there must have been something about your vibration that drew this in. And I'm not going to mince words here, that's called victim blaming. Someone going through a horrific, traumatic event, and people are pointing their finger saying you caused this because that's the last thing that somebody needs to hear when they're going through something, utterly terrifying. And when they need support and they need information. So there was a lack of support. There was also a lack of information. So I was seeking out teachers, healers, people who would know how to clear this stuff. Because, by the way, I mean, almost everybody, I think, knows that to clear, the really common practice of burning sage and using sage smoke to clear out negative energies, or to imagine white light, to call in your angels. Like, I was doing all of that stuff. And this attack was so extreme and so powerful that none of those soft techniques were working at all. Like, not at all. So I was reaching out to people saying, well, none of that stuff is working. What do I do for the really extreme stuff? And nobody had a clue. Like, nobody had a clue. And so when I was going through all of it, it was utterly stressful. I was desperate to find answers, and there were very few people that had any answers or any information to help. And I remember going online and doing research, and to try to find like a community or some people that knew how to deal with like severe entity attacks. And I didn't find anything. There was nothing online. And I remember thinking, why is there not a support group for this? Why is there not a support group for this? I know in my heart that there are other people who have had similar experiences. And so those people are having to go through it all alone. And I remember in my heart making a vow when I was going through all of that, thinking, when I get through this, I am starting a support group. I'm going to help people with whatever knowledge I gain through this, because I can't imagine anybody else having to feel the way that I have felt, feeling alone, feeling a lack of support, and being terrified for my life and for the safety of my soul. Having no support. And I didn't want anyone else to ever have to feel that way, to experience that without support, So that was the reason why I started doing the work that I'm doing now. I started a Facebook group, Psychic Attack and Entity Attack Support Group. And I also teach psychic self-defense classes as well. Now, one of the other things, I think I already mentioned that there was a lack of information out there. I was trying to find ways to clear this really extreme entity attacks that were coming in. And I was finding very few people who knew anything more than just the basics. I did have a couple of teachers that I connected with, and I'm so grateful for them. And with information from those teachers and from some other earthly angels who came in and gave me little tips along the way, I was able to clear out all of the psychic attack, the entity attacks, clear everything out completely. And so the techniques that I found were very useful, and that all came to resolution at the beginning of the summer. And so now it's the beginning of the fall, and I've had a few months now of getting back to my peaceful life, which I am so grateful for. I mean, there were times when I felt that the psychic attacks, that crazy period was gonna, I thought that those entities were gonna be after me for the rest of my life. I didn't know if I would ever be able to clear them. But the techniques that I found are super powerful and effective, and not very difficult to to complete. So I've been helping to spread this knowledge, and in addition to that, I mean, I know there's so much more to learn. What I recognize is that apparently I know tons more than about psychic protection than most people, and yet there's still tons more to learn. So every day I'm reading more books, I'm studying, I'm going online, I'm doing my own practices, and I'm also connecting in with my spiritual team, connecting in with spirit, going into meditation, and constantly bringing in new information about what's effective and what works. And since those attacks were cleared a few months ago, I have been working with some one-on-one clients and also bringing in some new students into my classes who had been struggling for a very long time without any support, being attacked either by entities or having other issues with either psychic attack or overall sensitivity, being an empath, other kinds of sensitivity issues to energies around them, with very little support and very little help in their life. And then now I've been able to help those people. So I feel really, really grateful that the divine has guided me, has guided those people to find me, that I've been able to assist them. And I'm going to tell you something. Before all of that, before that period of psychic attack happened to me, and by the way, I mean, it was really, I think I already emphasized how extreme it was. It was terrifying. It also, I mean, it included being physically attacked, being sexually violated by demons, okay? Freaky stuff. I couldn't even make this shit up. I couldn't make it up. Seriously. So I forgot my point, but so I've been able to, I know what I was going to say. This is an unedited video. Before all of that happened, if I had met someone who was having issues with really dark energy energies attached to them, I most likely would have referred them on to someone else, because I didn't want to work with that, because I understood how dangerous it was, and I was like, I don't have a clue. I don't know how to do that. I don't want to touch that stuff with a 10-foot pole. When I went through everything that I went through, it was like going through the fire, and it strengthened me in ways that I can't even describe, so that my spirit is so much stronger and braver. I have a level of courage tempered with good boundaries and discernment, but more courage than I ever had before. So I am extremely discerning with who I will work with. I don't just take anybody, but when it's the right person, the right clients, the right students who are having these kinds of issues, then we work together, and I feel very, very blessed by that. So I just wanted to share this with all of you, share the story of why I'm even doing this work, and I do take it very, very seriously. I don't know what else to say, just that it's very, very important to me. The majority of people in the world, hopefully, will never have issues with this kinds of stuff, but a fraction of the population will. And those people who do end up having issues with this need support, need protection, need education, need empowerment, need all of that. And it is not necessary to go through it all alone or to try to figure it out all alone. And so that's one of the ways that I am blessed to be sharing my gifts and contributing to the world at this particular time. So I think that's it. I think that's all that I want to share. If you would like more information, I invite you to go to my website, www.mayazahira.com, and it's spelled www.m as in Mary, AYA, Z as in zebra, AHIRA.com, mayazahira.com, and that's my website. Or you can go to Facebook and look for the group Psychic Attack and Entity Attack Support Group. It's a long title. Psychic Attack and Entity Attack Support Group. And as far as I can tell, there's nothing else on Facebook that's like this group. It's by the way, very supportive, very positive. It's not a fear-based group at all. It's not a victim-y group at all. It's very much about empowerment and information, and anybody who is genuinely interested in learning more, even if you haven't had these kinds of experiences, if you're genuinely interested in learning about psychic protection, then I invite you to click on there to join, and I look forward to seeing you on there. And then lastly, I invite you to make a comment below this video. Tell me what you think, if you had any reactions to what I shared, and then if you have had any experiences whatsoever, feel free to share those. And also, if you have any questions, I'm always more than happy to answer any and all questions. This is part of the work that I do, is when people are struggling, and I'm here to pass on information. I'm always studying and learning more, and any questions that you have, other people might have those same questions, so you're helping them by asking. So don't be shy, post your questions below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. I'm so happy to have connected with all of you in this way. I look forward to hearing from you through your comments. And as always, I'm sending you all my love.